When you hear the name Kurt Busch, you think immediately champion.
He's got a tremendous amount of talent.
He's got one of the deepest burning sensations for being the best.
You also see a guy that has been fighting demons.
First thing that comes out of my mouth is, I need to kick your ass.
Can you get this out of my face?
Kurt Busch has been suspended.
And then...
That kind of anger will eat you up.
It refrains me from not beating the out of you right now.
That moment turned everybody against me. It's tough reliving all this. It's snapshots in your life of pain. But this is that moment of, you can't keep screwing up. I'm not gonna give up. I'm not gonna go out like this. I've always wanted to do an interview. I was watching 60 Minutes a few weeks ago, and they had the clock ticking, and I was like, oh, that's what I need to do. I'm tired of them editing good answers, bad answers, and around to make you look stupid. I'm gonna put a clock right here, right? Camera, got it? That's gonna be a digital timer that they can see. And so that way you know if they've edited it poorly. We gotta get up. We got the book fair today. Yeah. Uh-huh. Good morning. Good morning. The last 9 months have been a whirlwind. The whirlwind that happens when you open the plug on the bottom of your tub and the water starts to go through. That's somewhat what's happened to my career. God gave me a talent to drive race cars, and there's been times where I've abused that privilege. Make sure you get this in your backpack. I've created my own situations, but I can't get over them as fast as others.
Kurt Busch has been suspended until June 13th.
You can do 97% good, but that 3% bad, that's all that people want to talk about. Sorry, I know I got off on a rant there. We can use what you guys want to use out of it, but at least I got it off my chest. This is therapy.
In over 10 years as a NASCAR racer, Kurt Busch has seen it all. The highest highs and the lowest lows.
So you start living these two separate lives. One is the guy next door, trying to be regular Joe. Well, maybe that was a mistake I made. Maybe I was supposed to be the guy that embraced this stardom.
He lives outside of Charlotte, North Carolina, with his girlfriend, Patricia.
Are we turning the show into MTV Cribs now?
Yeah, we are.
Okay, all right, just checking. We borrowed this house from Ricky Bobby, and it was in the movie Talladega Nights. No, we're just kidding. She makes fun of me that this is Ricky Bobby's house.
It looks exactly like Ricky Bobby's house, especially from the outside.
Ricky, how do you get the stereo and the TV to work at the same time? Well, why would you want to do that? Because I like to party. All is good. I have a camera crew shoved up my ass. I love it. I mean, if you're allowing the world to come in and see you, you've got to be yourself. We got to get all of our people so we can get on the plane so we don't miss the race. Show the stresses of when things aren't going right. I hate cameras. It's okay to be human. Here we are flying around on Lear jets, and we got to eat KFC. Got to keep it real. A lot of times I get asked, what is something that people don't know about you? What are your hobbies? You know, what's your favorite thing, this and that? I'm like, racing. It's just racing. I grew up with a middle-class family who couldn't even afford to really go to the big leagues of our local short track.
First run ever for Kurt Busch.
Racing is an addiction. It takes you over. It's something that you can't get rid of.
Drag racing is a way for Kurt to forget about his day job for a while. And after 2011, there's a lot he'd rather forget. Homestead. Kurt needs a solid finish to give Penske a place on the Sprint Cup Awards stage.
We want to try to stay in the top 10 in points. You're just leftover trash when you finish 11th.
But on just the second lap, Kurt's number 22 car suffers a massive transmission failure.
22 car smoking and slow off the pace. That was from third place.
Get ready. We're going to get it back there, guys.
Transmissions never break when they're in high gear riding around the racetrack.
Like it was a transmission possible.
And this one did.
Just hope that there's no fluids coming out of that.
I think it was a wrist pin from the drive shaft. Broke, shot through, came into the car. It didn't hit me. It actually hit the roof of the car and put a big dent in it. I mean, it was like a bullet coming into the car.
For the second year in a row, Kurt is 11th in the standings.
I wasn't going to be up on stage in Vegas to thank the sponsors. We dealt with running out of gas the week before while leading. Then you learn the crew chief's leaving. I was burned out. So 2 years in a row, you get all this stuff building up, and then the camera guy wants to yank you around and put the camera right in your face, even though it's not even running. All of this is wearing you out. It's just like, can I just leave now? I mean, I would just rather slip on the ground, hit my head, and be knocked out at this point.
Why can't we take the...
As he's waiting for a live interview, a race fan captures Kurt's frustration.
I wasn't even yelling at Dr. Punch. It was the camera guy who had the camera in my face, and he's on me without the camera rolling. And that's what pissed me off.
Can you get the out of my face?
The viral video was just the latest in a series of media meltdowns in 2011.
Look like a fucking football. Everybody.
Busch had to be restrained from NASCAR.com reporter Joe Menzer on pit road.
I didn't say that tonight.
You did.
Did not.
I said we're in his head.
Kurt Busch, a former Sprint Cup Series champion, and Penske Racing have parted ways.
Yes, I messed up. I should have been able to handle the pressures. That's what the responsibilities of a driver of my caliber should be.
It seems like this would be a complete surprise to you. Is that correct?
What I did this past season, it wasn't just one moment. There were a bunch of unprofessional moments.
When Penske Racing and the corporate world and I weren't getting along, and it was just like, enough's enough, I'm burned out.
For Kurt, Homestead was the lowest point in a career that started with a bang.
It just went so fast. When I first got in the Truck Series, then on my rookie year, my second year ever in Cup, I finished third in points. Win the championship 2 years later. I mean, it's just ding, 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 ding.
But the road to the top wasn't exactly smooth.
Whoa! Did you see Earnhardt bounce off Kurt Busch there off turn 4?
Oh, boy, that's the lamb and the lion going at it right there.
Yeah, when I got the finger from Dale Sr., it was a welcome to the sport moment.
There it is. There it is. Kurt, you're number one. You are.
Young Kurt had a habit of bumping up against the veterans like Jimmy Spencer.
Busch with a bump and run, Kurt went on to victory lane.
And sometimes they bumped right back.
He wrecked me deliberately. He said he was going to do it. But since I'm the new guy, I'm supposed to continue to take this.
I don't think Kurt's going to let that one go over too easy.
I had enough.
Kurt continuing to express his displeasure at Jimmy Spencer.
If you're a short track racer, the guy on the track that's lining up cars taps his butt and points to the back, that means you got to be in the back. I don't think anybody that commented on it had any idea what that meant.
You know, when you're the new guy, yeah, you're supposed to go and take the lumps. That's what freshmen do. But I'm remembering the times of how he did me dirty on the track. I had enough. And so I got on TV and called him an old decrepit has-been. I didn't stand down. I just tried to stand proud.
I'm still going to be the aggressive driver on the track that wants to go to the front, but I don't want to wrinkle anybody's fenders doing it.
In my rookie class, there was 5 guys. 2 of them you don't hear of anymore. They didn't stick their neck out. They didn't push hard. That's what I was afraid of in the beginning was you make it to the top, you don't perform, you get kicked out. Never heard from again.
And last Sunday, more bumping and banging.
And at Michigan in 2003, Kurt's Outlaw style was broadcast live, loud, and clear.
See, I'm not very good at being bad. I was trying to flatten the 7th car fender, and I got mine. I needed to be further forward on his car.
It just showed me being a 23-year-old punk. And that moment turned everybody against me.
Now he was getting booed at nearly every race.
It's easy to boo a guy that puts the black hat on. And sometimes the media, sometimes the fans give them the black hat that they have to wear. And unfortunately, those are things that are hard to undo.
After Homestead 2011, Kurt was left without a ride.
James Finch picked me up off the street and said, yeah, come on in, drive my car. My stint with Phoenix Racing was the best thing that could have happened to me. Just get in there, get greasy, hang out with the guys. So that's the fun part of it. James Finch is a riot. There's not many guys that can pull off a red Solo Cup in the garage area and not have NASCAR take it away from you.
His passion and drive for the sport is something that's very special, and we know that. You know, Kurt's under a little bit of microscope, but when he gets out of that car, he comes in here and he wants to talk about the race car and what we need to do to go forward, and that's what we're here to do.
Kurt's year with Phoenix begins at the Daytona 500, one of the biggest races of the year. But things get off to a shaky start. On a practice run, Kurt's car suffers a freak accident.
I hit a bird, I poke a hole in the radiator, and I burn the engine up. So we change the engine, and that makes us start last.
Delayed by weather for the first time ever, the race begins at 7 p.m. the following day. Then, on just the second lap, coming up.
The cop realizes who I am. He then cuffs me, and that's when I lose it.
In his first race with Phoenix at the 2012 Daytona 500, Kurt gets caught in a wreck.
And I had nowhere to go, and I'm in the wreck. That's how the season started.
He took a hard lick right in the door.
I always say a prayer to God to keep him safe. This is not a game. You can really get hurt. We have no idea how much damage has been done to the frontal lobe of their brain, which really controls emotions, because those wrecks, that brain is dehydrated like the rest of your body, and that brain is slamming the front wall of your head, and it causes injury there. It's always my first thought is just bring him home safe.
Daytona was just a disaster. It's like, wow, we're going at this all the wrong way, it seemed.
Can I get a picture real quick?
I'm just heading to the hall, I'm sorry.
It's a disappointing start for Kurt in Phoenix Racing. But the road has never been easy for Kurt or his family.
My father was a workhorse. It was 5 a.m. to 6, 7 o'clock at night with the business. He never took time for vacations, never took days off. He just worked. I mean, it was a way of life. And that's what he instilled in me, was that work ethic.
I probably got a picture that probably describes the whole thing best. So he'd wake up from his nap and come out with his bunny rabbit to see how the car was coming.
I was working on my dad's cars just as soon as I could walk. I mean, he'd hand me a piece of sandpaper that probably couldn't do any damage, but I was sitting there just sanding away with him.
I don't know if anybody got this, but that's before Kurt's first race. That's him with the 4 car. Kurt and I raced each other quite a bit with those cars, and Kyle was our videotape guy, so there's our video guy in the middle. But once his brother started, all that ended. They'd race each other like they were racing for the Brickyard trophy or something. I'd try to sit them down after the race and go, you guys are running first and second. You realize that third place is like half a lap back. You don't have to run this hard. Why? I can't give him the win. I'll tell you, I can't give him the win. And it's like, They're both on the track, they're both in them, and they're both running each other hard for the win.
Today, they're still just as competitive. But in the off-season, Kyle asked Kurt to share rides in the KBM 54 Monster Energy car.
My question was, well, who was going to drive this car when Kyle wasn't driving it? And, I never could get an answer on that. Kyle said, okay, I'm sitting here with Kurt, and he's going to drive it whenever I'm not driving it. And so that pretty much made my decision. That's what I wanted to do.
Richmond, April 27, 2012. The NASCAR Nationwide Series.
Kurt Busch trying to bring home win number 1 for KBM and his brother, Kyle.
There was all the critics saying, oh, it's bad. Two brothers working with each other, one for the other. Two fiery attitudes aren't going to mesh. It's like everybody was waiting for the bottom to fall out.
Come into the white flag. Kurt Busch, Denny Hamlin. How rough will it get? Can Kurt hang with him? Here they come to the checkered flag. Who's it going to be? Hamlin sliding it sideways. Give it to Kurt.
Race. What a finish. Way to go, guys.
To have my brother driving it, man, that's something special. We thought we could win a lot of races this year, and this is the first one, so we're trying like heck, man, to make this all work.
It's an important victory for Kurt, Kyle, and the KBM team. But the glow of the winner's circle can fade fast. In 2005, just a year after winning the Sprint Cup, Kurt was caught in a media nightmare after being pulled over in Phoenix.
The cop realizes who I am. He runs the license, says, come on out, let's just see if you're drunk or not. We do all the field sobriety tests, I pass. He then cuffs me, and that's when I lose it. That was that snapshot. The sheriff gets on TV, says that there's been a NASCAR driver speeding on his streets. Let's fry him, let's fry him, let's fry him.
The media reports a suspected DUI, but Kurt was well below the legal limit and only charged with running a stop sign.
Only in America can you go back to that same county, same sheriff, and he gives you a badge and just say, oh, I'm sorry that I screwed up your whole career. Here's a badge.
And just a year later, Kurt was number 3 on GQ's most hated athlete list.
I was like, I know what this is. This is a parting gift from my previous team. This isn't real. This isn't who I am. I gave my heart and soul to that team, pushed it to a championship. To be 3rd on the most hated athlete list, it was like, wow, this is so far from the truth, so fictitious. But guess what? That's the only question that I got to answer on every radio show that I went on for the next 18 months.
In 2012, Kurt is yet to capture a win for Phoenix Racing, and he's hoping Talladega will be a game changer.
You know you're up against Goliath, and you're going to be David and try to conquer this.
Coming up.
It's Ricky Bobby. I'm going fast. All around goes Kurt Busch.
Save you 15% or more.
After winning Richmond for his brother Kyle in the Nationwide Series, Kurt Busch's 2012 comeback year is on track. But he has yet to win a Sprint Cup Series race for Phoenix Racing. A win in Talladega could be a game changer. And Kurt and Patricia have a plan. A car painted as an exact replica of Ricky Bobby's car in the 2006 Will Ferrell movie, Talladega Nights.
Here's our Cougar.
I think this is the greatest function we've ever had.
Yeah. Ricky Bobby having the struggles in his career. Kurt Busch having the struggles and trying to work your way back up. And we did it to show that I was still marketable.
That's the car I've ever seen. That is beautiful.
Yeah, I walk out there with a driver's suit on. It was like, this guy is nuts. Talladega really moved the needle.
But there's more to this stunt than just a few self-promoting laughs. Over the last year, Kurt has worked hard to support veterans through the Armed Forces Foundation, a charity that Patricia directs.
It's been very inspirational to work with them, to help them. pit road, it just gets chaotic. That's basically going down the interstate and going, oh, look, there's a gas station. Then you meet a guy like Joseph Grabanowski that, here he is, he's on patrol in Afghanistan, hits an IED hit him, and both of his legs now, and up through his pelvic area is removed, it's gone. It makes me realize that there is struggles that people have to live with every day. You can have good days, and those good days might be, for him, sitting up straight for an hour all by yourself. For me, good days would be going to victory lane. So when my bad days happen, they're not so bad anymore.
It's helped change your outlook, and I'm sure you've helped change his.
Hope so. Be right back. Let me stop the tape.
So with the Cougar on the hood, they're looking for a sponsor, but how about that? Kurt Busch right behind Earnhardt.
And Kurt Busch has driven that car from 33rd all the way up to 3rd place.
The pack is gaining on you guys pretty good there, Ricky. They're about a second a lap faster.
Yeah, 10-4. I don't want to bump into him and spill his macchiato.
Does he have all those movie lines on his dashboard or what? New leader. Been waiting all day to say this. It's Ricky Bobby.
And then, with just 7 laps to go.
Well, Ricky Bobby loses the lead to Matt Kenseth. Oh, there goes Kurt Busch. Big slide.
Hang on, buddy. Hang on, buddy. Hang on. I think we hit. I don't think we hit. Yeah, we're going to hit. I don't know.
What a heartbreaker for Kurt Busch.
But maybe it was the adrenaline. Wanting to win so bad, I ended up spinning.
One moment, you're in position to win. The next moment, you're sliding sideways at 190 miles an hour.
We had everybody rooting for us. Everybody wants a fairy tale. It's tough reliving all this. It's snapshots in your life of pain.
But just 1 week later at Darlington, Kurt gets a chance to redeem himself.
It's the Southern 500. It's just a big race. No bones about it.
Into the speedway.
I'm pushing as hard as I can to deliver a good finish for these guys. Every pit stop, though, we're kicking ourselves in our shin. We're dropping lug nuts. We're not getting it full of gas. Every pit stop, we went back into the teens, and I'd race my way up to single digits.
Kurt Busch in the 51 battles Ryan Newman for ninth.
But the right side of the 51 has taken some hits.
Busch has bounced off the wall pretty hard in turn 4.
And then, with 7 laps to go.
Oh, there he goes, and in the fence.
Oh, no.
480 miles of battle.
He's wrecking. He's got a right rear tire down. And he's around.
And I end up flat side on the right side of the car to get a flat tire, spin out. The guy we're racing with spins out behind me.
Bring out the caution flag.
Well, he just ends up parked on pit road next to us. Just random. I've worked all night, and there it went. But I'm still on the lead lap, and I still got a chance on getting a set of tires and going back out there. So I burn out of the pit box, and I'm heading back out onto the track. Well, his pit crew guys thought that I endangered them. So, coming down pit road, I'm undoing my Hans device, I'm taking my helmet off, and then wham! I run into the back of Ryan Newman. And it's like, that didn't need to happen. Now here he comes over and asks me what all that was. I go, honestly, I had no intentions of hurting you, hitting you. Stood there by the car afterward, and I waited for my pit crew to push that car back into the garage. I was cool all the way until his crew decided they wanted to pick a fight with me and threaten with my girlfriend's name being used. I'm like, son of a bitch, I'm gonna come after you with all the adrenaline I've got. If you beat me to a bloody pulp, at least I tried. But the still shot that's on the front page the next morning is me yelling at that crew guy.
What started as a potential bright spot in this comeback year has ended in a PR nightmare.
Today, NASCAR announced penalties following Saturday night's post-race scuffle. Kurt Busch was fined $50,000 and placed on NASCAR probation until July 25th. Newman's crew chief.
Probation is really going to mean something for Kurt Busch because he's going to be under the microscope more than ever before.
Will this incident hurt Kurt's marketability, if you will?
He cannot have another blemish on his record.
Maricopa County, Homestead, Darlington, 2012. This is why Kurt Busch is a problem. This is how he reacts.
Coming up.
Big news, Kurt Busch has been suspended for his actions following the Nationwide Series race.
It refrains me from not beating the out of you right now.
Phone number. Get Magic Jack Plus at Radio Shack.
Bad luck and timing have left Kurt Busch fighting for his career. After Darlington, NASCAR puts Kurt on probation.
It's hot. Yeah, it's tough. I battled all night. And one little thing happens at the end, and when that one little thing happens, it's just like taking an anvil and dropping it on your foot.
3 weeks later at Dover, Kurt bounces back and snags 4th place for his brother Kyle in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. But after the race, trouble finds him again.
Big news out of NASCAR late this afternoon. Kurt Busch has been suspended until June 13th for his actions following the Nationwide Series race Saturday at Dover.
At the beginning of the race, Justin Allgaier in the 31 gets loose and makes contact with Kurt in the 54. After the race, they confront each other, and when Kurt tries to leave, Allgaier won't let go. Just a minute later, the press pounce.
Did it impact you, how you raced, Justin? The fact that you're on probation after that, he said he was racing you.
It refrains me from not beating the out of you right now because you asked me stupid questions. But since I'm on probation, I suppose that's improper to say as well.
What Bob Pockris asked him was a legitimate question.
It was a fair question.
He, in essence, was saying quite simply, do you have to change the way you drive because you're on probation?
I had just gone through this full race of in my windshield, communication with the team, working at the best that I could, you know, muscling a 4th place finish out of it. And he hands me this question about being on probation and racing Allgaier differently, which the Allgaier thing happened 200 laps ago. It happened on lap 1. And first thing that comes out of my mouth is, it's just bleh, came out of my mouth of, I need to kick your ass. After I got off of pit road, I told Rick Wren, the team manager for Kyle, I think something serious is gonna happen. I think I just screwed up completely. And he goes, what'd you do? What'd you say? I'm like, well, I think that I told Pockris I wanted to kick his ass, but I don't even know.
The charge, verbal abuse to a media member. The punishment, a 1-week suspension.
And now all of a sudden, it's the bad boy again. Wait a minute, I'm trying to move the needle, but they just throw right back on top of you.
This is about respect for people like us that's trying to grow and build this sport.
It's funny, they all were sitting in there, Kurt, we don't want to suspend you. We don't want to suspend you, but you put us in a box and the media is going to rip us apart if we don't suspend you. How does that make you feel?
When he got suspended, we were actually very shocked because that's the most harsh punishment we've ever seen come out of NASCAR for this kind of offense.
So is it good impressions or is it bad impressions that get your name in the news? Fortunately, it's bad, and that's all that people see. I can have my Hall of Fame speech 30 years from now, and if there's a 2-minute video, it's gonna be a minute 50 on all the I did wrong. And it's gonna be 10 seconds of, oh yeah, by the way, he can drive. I'm done fighting the battle. My image is what it is. It's who they say that I am. I've lived 2 lives, it seems like, the last, call it 3 years. And
whatever they write's whatever they write. I'm done fighting the battle.
I feel like we're watching a talented driver self-destruct before our eyes. It's like, what is next?
Being forced to sit away, it is the moment of, am I going to continue to fight this battle, or should I just walk away?
The next move is yours. Joining is easy and free. Join ChristianMingle.com today.
An overheated comment following the Nationwide Series race at Dover has left Kurt suspended for a week.
The suspension really taught me to take a step back and go, this is that moment of, you can't keep screwing up. You know, treat the media with respect, and maybe they'll start getting off of you.
Forced to take time off, Kurt begins to reassess his life and his future.
So it was a very gloomy point for me.
We've had a lot of serious discussions of, do you really want to do this anymore? I mean, we both have enough money that we can walk away from this. What is it that you want to do?
I love to get in the car and race, and to beat all those other guys around the racetrack and win.
Following the suspension, Kurt sets his sights on the Sprint Cup Series race at Sonoma, a race he won just last year.
Time to get back to business, start looking forward. I'm just a racer. When you put the helmet on and they tell you to, gentlemen, start your engines, that's the best moment. It's the battlefield.
Why are we showing you Kurt Busch? Because he is getting after it right now, Wally.
Oh, it's been a tough couple weeks for Kurt Busch, but things are going his way today. That car working very well.
From the back of the pack, Kurt makes his move, and with only 17 laps to go, he catches the leader, Clint Boyer.
Looks like we have a battle for the lead, Adam.
I had a chance to move Clint Boyer. Move means wreck. You know, move him out of the way to try to win.
Right, two, strike the bottom, strike the bottom, strike the bottom. Start by one, start by half.
There you go. I'm here. I'm here.
Yeah, just good. Straight drives off, clear by one already.
And that's gamesmanship right there. I'm not going to wreck you. I'm not going to mess with you. I'm just going to tell you I'm here. And if you make a mistake, I'm going to take advantage of that.
In my mind, I'm like, you don't pass him clean. Do this right. Same time, this little guy over here's the devil going, just wreck him. You got to win. This is your only chance now. Do it. And I was just being patient. I was just trying to wear him out, force him into a mistake.
But then, with 8 laps to go,
Kurt Busch came on the radio a minute ago, had some comments about the tire that I can't say on TV, but obviously he just pushed it too hard there for about 10 laps. His car now fading.
It was me hitting the tires, or the rear end was falling out of the car anyway. Holy smokes, is the rear end even going to stay in the car, or is it going to fall out? Am I going to get wrecked and end up 30th? That could have happened just that quick.
It looks like there's a mess in the rear suspension or something seems to maybe be broke.
Kurt Busch is carrying this car. If there's something wrong with the back of that thing, he is carrying this car at this point.
Kurt amazingly holds on to 3rd place.
Everybody came out on the pit road and gave me a high five on the way in. They knew that I poured my heart out. It was that perfect race for me. It was just like we were a big-time team that day.
It's an amazing day when you can do what we did today. I don't know, I'm a little choked up.
Kurt, congratulations. Thank you for your time.
For the media to applaud on my way out of the media center, and I think that moment helped. It helped me move forward.
But now the media is watching Kurt even closer.
With the underfunded team, not knowing where he's going, I mean, this is a lot of stuff. And you're under a microscope. Everybody's watching, because they want you to make a mistake.
Coming up.
We're leading the race. Crew chief says we're going to be pitting in 4 laps, and then...
Oh, trouble. Kurt Busch.
job. Go to Quibbits.com now.
Placing third at Sonoma, despite major car trouble in the final laps, has left Kurt on a high note.
It was a wholehearted good feeling of going into battle, knowing that you were up against the big teams with less stuff.
But Kurt is yet to win a race for Phoenix Racing.
When you hear the name Kurt Busch, you think immediately champion. You think talented driver. You also see a guy that has been fighting demons.
And he needed to change as a person because that kind of anger will eat you up. It will ruin your life, and it was starting to ruin his.
Next stop, Daytona, the nationwide series, and a chance for Kurt to fulfill his promise and finally capture a win for Phoenix Racing.
We went to Daytona with the biggest aspirations. I mean, we wanted it all. You have to make 1,000 decisions every lap, and you do it in 1,000th of a second. And then you just discard all those decisions because you got another 1,000 coming in.
As the race continues into the evening, Kurt fights to move up through the pack. Then, the one car suffers major damage, but Kurt pushes through and slips into the top 5.
Kurt's on the edge every lap, and he's a Class A driver, and he's giving us 100% all the time. That's the never give up mentality of Kurt Busch.
And on the final lap, Kurt captures the lead.
Come on, baby, come on. Who's going to win it? Out of trouble. Austin Dillon spins. Kurt Busch wins.
It's that old game that I played when I was a kid out in the desert. We'd find a big dirt mound, and it was called King of the Hill. And you stood up top, and people tried to come up and grab your foot and yank you down. But when you're there, the view is great.
I kind of feel like I'm looking at the little team that could and the driver who just wouldn't quit.
We just won it, Daytona. Passion and heart. That's all I can give. I'm a racer. I don't know much about anything else.
Phoenix Racing is thrilled with the Daytona nationwide win, but Kurt needs to set his sights on 2013 and winning the Sprint Cup again.
2012 was just a handshake deal. James Finch, he's just doing it to have fun, and there isn't the big serious corporate dollars behind it. Trying to do it for an underdog team. You're gonna do things and stretch yourself thin, and yeah, you're gonna make those mistakes. And that happened this year. That happened because I was trying to be Fred Flintstone and carry the car, stick my feet out the bottom and carry it. We had some sponsors calling up. I'm handing these deals to the owner going, this is what we've got. And James Finch goes, no, they're not big enough. We need to make the car look like it's available. We got to hang out and wait for the big fish. I'm like, all right, I'll follow your lead. And the sponsors turned away. And it looks like I'm unsponsorable now because we kept throwing them back, waiting for the big one to bite.
This isn't about money at this point. This is about winning a championship.
Kurt decides it's time for another fresh start.
So we're not late.
No, we're way good.
Okay.
At the Speed Studios, Kurt prepares to break the news.
Every time I speak, I just seem to twist the words in a way to where people get a bad vibe off.
Like I told Patricia,
All right, I'm done talking.
You don't hate the media, you're just not good with it. Not everyone gets it.
It's a pleasure to have Kurt Busch here in the NASCAR Race Hub. And by the way, I'm curious, why are you wearing a jacket?
Well, it's cold outside, but you know.
It is very pretty here in Charlotte, North Carolina.
No, actually, this has been a warm and fuzzy type of day. I did sign a new contract today, and I just wanted to kind of make you guys aware of my next year plans. I'm going to be with Barney Visser and Furniture Row Racing, so you got the Speed exclusive.
With Furniture Row Racing, this is a team that's looked beyond the tarnished image. This is a team that wants a racer behind the wheel because they're worried about performance. It's just like a brand new partnership of, boom, we're on the same page, let's do this together with Barney Visser. It was, you drive, I want to see my stuff go fast. And so it's just time to get back to business. All right, message is delivered. Now all the fun part begins.
Hi, Ellie in the morning.
Ellie in the morning, who's this?
You've been in
in the news, Mr. Busch. You are racing this weekend, correct?
Yeah, oh yeah, I'm racing. We're going to be down in Talladega.
If this is the last race with Phoenix Racing, is there any part of you that's like, you know what, if I'm not going to win, I'm going to just demolish this car?
James Finch earlier this year said, you either win or bring home the steering wheel. So that's what we got for this weekend.
Talladega with Phoenix Racing, my last ride with them. We want to go out big. The fraternity feel with the guys was there, and it was strong. It was, what can we do together just one more time?
This is Kurt's last race in the 51 car. He's one of the best out there, but he's got one of the deepest down burning sensations for being the best. And a lot of these guys out here don't have it. That's kind of what separates the men from the ladies.
Thanks for being tough all year. Kurt, we're going to miss the hell out of you. Put a good memory. Go do it Outlaw style.
Predictions, win it or wreck it. They call it checkers or wreckers.
Starting the day at 29th, Kurt stays focused and moves the 51 car through the pack. Then, in the second half of the race,
Oh, trouble. Yep. There we go.
ahead of the wreck, Kurt stays in the top 10, then takes the lead.
New leader 51.
How long will Kurt Busch be able to stay at the front? Jim?
Away from being on pit road. Be 4 tires when we pit, Kurt.
We're leading the race. Crew chief says we're going to be pitting in 4 laps. And then...
Oh, trouble. Kurt Busch. Inside wall.
Stop, Kurt. They want you to stop right now. They want you to stop.
World Truck Series, Friday at 7:30 Eastern, live on Speed.
I'm out of fuel. I'm out of fuel and I got wrecked, guys. Why am I out of gas?
At Talladega, Kurt's wrecked and out of gas.
Calmly get out of the car, and well, that damage isn't that bad. And it clicks in my mind of the car will run back to the pits on low fuel pressure. I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to go out like this. I jumped back in it, and the safety guy's like, hey, you got to get in the ambulance, you wrecked. I said, hey, I'm going to the garage area because this car will still run. So, jump in the car, fire it up, drive away, and of course creates the Kurt Busch story of all time.
Stop, Kurt. They want you to stop right now. They want you to stop. They want you to stop.
Got his helmet off. He's not hearing them.
Sure enough, NASCAR's yelling at me on the radio to stop, and you're parked, and I didn't even know. I didn't have my helmet on.
Caution out because Kurt Busch's car refired and drove away with the bag of the safety workers' equipment on top of the roof of the car.
The car does run out of gas. I don't make it back to the pits, so it almost looks like I finally yielded to NASCAR telling me to stop. I don't know that NASCAR's told me that I'm parked, and I see this storm of people. I just figured this group of people is to go, you wrecked, and this was your final race with Phoenix Racing. And Nick, crew chief, and he's like, this is what you gotta know. NASCAR has told you that you're done for the day. I'm like, what? Because you disobeyed orders. I'm like, what did I disobey? I didn't hear it. What are you talking about? And then I turn around and it's just, everybody's right on top of me. And I'm still a little agitated because this is the same storm that I always end up in. Made me realize this is another opportunity for me to shoot myself in the foot, and I better not. I see the guys over there, so I went around to each one of them to say thanks, gave them a hug. It was like that feeling of, we gave it all.
And then, when he's ready, Kurt faces the storm.
I can't control the message that they're gonna deliver. I can only control the message that I can deliver.
1 week later in Charlotte, North Carolina, Kurt gets ready for his first race with Furniture Row.
I think it's a very good deal for Kurt Busch. Honestly, Furniture Row Racing is a hidden gem in the garage.
November 2012 at Texas Motor Speedway, Kurt scored his first top 10 finish for Furniture Row, coming in 8th.
Home sweet home.
1 week later in Phoenix, he drove the heavily damaged 78 to an 8th place finish, giving Furniture Row its best back-to-back finishes in the team's history.
I've seen the greats, I've worked with the greats, and it takes a lot of hard work to become a champion. To see Kurt mature over the years through his career, you know, he's got a tremendous amount of talent. He gets it done.
God gave me a talent to drive race cars, and there's been times where I've abused that privilege. But the good get back up, and they dust themselves off, and they keep going.
We'll ask God's forgiveness. I would just ask that you, in your mind, review the things that you think you've done wrong, and then I'll give you absolution, okay? Go in peace, get to your driver's meeting.
Thank you, Father. Most outlaws live in a life that isn't glorious. But as any outlaw is going to do, they're going to find their own way of defining success and doing it their way. I'm going to do it my way. There's going to be the ups and the downs. I'm going to keep coming back up until I can't anymore.